Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on Facebook.com/SuperFunPodcast, Twitter.com/SuperFunPodcast, Patreon.com/SuperFunPodcast, Instagram at SuperFunPodcastGo, iTunes at Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! Tonight, we are dead by daylight. To my left, I have Ralph.
Do it again.
See? See?
Wait, hush.
That doesn't sound familiar at all. Across the table, Clark.
Get that dick out of your mouth.
To my right.
You really got to ruin that, though? Like,
I'm with Clark on this one.
To my right, I have Harry.
Pew, 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 pew. Is that your V? Oh,
Yeah, no,
sorry,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
No, go.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Ralph?
Nothing.
And I'll be your host tonight, Steve. I love to play hooky.
Zing.
zing.
All right.
Bum, 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 bum.
I love it. All right. So let's dive right into this. Let's get some initial impressions. Who would like to start us off?
This game is twisted. It's sick. It's a terrible horror game where you can play as the killer. It's unlawful, unacceptable, terrible. Actually, it's not that bad.
Cool. Clark, what'd you think?
So I had this game right around the time that it came out on PC, actually, a few years ago.
Oh.
And there's only one exclusive thing for having it on PC, and it's the only difference. You get to play as Bill from Left 4 Dead, and that's initially why I bought it. I saw,
Really?
Yes, I bought it when... Okay, so maybe it's not right around the actual release. When they released that DLC for free, I was like, all right, I'm going to buy this game just to check it out. Bought it, downloaded Bill, was playing as Bill online, didn't have any friends to play it with, so it quickly died for me. What?
I didn't say anything.
He didn't say
Okay.
anything.
Fair enough.
He's making a face.
Now that it became free on PSN and everyone has it or has the ability to get it, I've just been playing it more and more, and I fucking love this game. It's so much fucking fun.
Cool. Talk to me, Harry.
I really don't have too many initial impressions.
All right. I felt...
I just saw it pop up as the free game of the month, downloaded on PlayStation Network, and just dived right in. And lo and behold, we were reviewing it a few weeks later. So there's really no initial impression there. It's just right into the podcast.
It mirrors my own.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a game really I ever heard of. It was the same thing. It was actually you were the one to tell me it's like, you have to buy, well, not buy, you have to download this game. It's the free game of the month. It's awesome. Put it on your system. And then actually that was when we recorded one of the other episodes. Harry, Ralph, and myself, we sat down and we watched me play through the tutorial, and that's how it began.
I actually did want to say that this is one of those games that I had consistently seen in the top tiers of Twitch, as people streaming.
Yep.
And I didn't make the connection until I saw the loading screen. The symbol, is it 5? Roman...
Yeah, it's the Roman numeral for 5.
Roman numeral for 5. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this is that game that... Okay. But I had never actually taken any time to learn about it or watch it or really understand what was going on. And I sort of equated it to the Jason Voorhees game, where you play as Jason
Friday
or
the 13th.
Friday the 13th. It's the same thing, right? You can play as Jason or as one of the survivors.
Yes, but you don't get to clarify who you play as. You can pick your like preferred counselor and your preferred Jason, but when you load into a match, you can't like play as Jason.
Got it.
You can't like pick like, oh, I'm going to play as Jason this round or as a counselor.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's slash on into some game development.
Game development.
I don't have a lot for game development here. I know they're pretty on point with getting out DLCs, and they have a really good roadmap where they're just explaining, okay, we're doing content drops and we're doing things like that. They actually announced today that there's going to be a new DLC coming out in early September, probably around the time that this drops. It'll be out. It's made by Behavior Games. They are somewhat of an indie studio. They originally, it was in 2015 when the game came out. I don't know an exact month. I know it's been around for 2016, because it's like it's a 2-year-old game-ish.
Gotcha.
They're really good about just kind of keeping updates constantly coming out and fixing things, tweaking things, adding new killers, new survivors, new cosmetics, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And yet another game that uses the Unreal Engine.
Yes.
It looks like they've made a lot of not tie-in games, a lot of
Licensed?
Thank you. A lot of licensed games, like stuff from Disney, adaptations of Happy Feet.
It's a bit of a different direction they went in with this one.
High School Musical, Sing It, the Golden Compass game, a lot of handheld stuff. Oh, they made Iron Man.
Are you talking about Behavior?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Dude, I thought you were talking about like in the game. I was like, what?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
They got their inspiration for this game from Happy Feet.
You have to run from a murderous penguin. But he doesn't put you on a hook. He just dances on your face until he crushes your skull.
They also made Dante's Inferno. Did you play that?
Yes, I did play Dante's Inferno. It's a really good game.
I always wanted to play that game. You know what sucked me into that game? Like when they do really good marketing, like Gears of War used
Mad World,
like
the commercial.
Dante's Inferno used what's that song? I have it on my
Are you going to look up a video right now?
no no, it's in my music.
Oh, they made the Transformers Dark of the Moon game.
Let me just look it up. Just give me 10 seconds here.
You fucking internet addict.
Ain't No Sunshine.
Oh.
They use that.
Sunshine.
Yeah, they use that for Dante's Inferno. Like certain games do such good marketing just by picking the correct song when they do their commercial that it just like instantly sells you on the game.
This is Shadow of Mordor. I mean, it was published by Warner Brothers, but is that right? Fallout Shelter?
Quite an array that they have going on there.
Yeah, they've been around for a while.
The 90s.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we can just move on.
Yeah, that's fine. I couldn't find a game development section on the wiki page
because it's still in development. It's one of those things. It's hard to find development notes unless there's something crazy that happens for a lot of these like asymmetric games that are still supported.
Cool. Well, let's vault on over into some story.
Story.
All right. So each character has their own backstory, and each killer has their own backstory. Going through all of that is just. It's too much for us to cover, and it would just be blandly reading things. The game does not have an actual cohesive story to it. The general overarching theme for the lore of this game is it's a bunch of people who end up getting pretty much plucked from their regular lives, and then they wake up at this campfire. They are being stalked by a killer. The killer's goal is to feed them on a hook to the entity. The entity is just trying to claim these people, and it powers the entity. There's no end game, really. There's not a lot of things going on for that. But it has this Groundhog Day element where if you get sacrificed to the entity, you wake up and you're at the fucking campsite again. Or, adversely, if you escape, once you escape from the area that you're in with the killer, you're like wandering through the woods, and every single time you end back at the campsite. The longer you survive, it doesn't matter. It's just you always end up back at the campsite. You're always being stalked and hunted by the killer.
And put your little hand in mine. There ain't no
poor Bill Murray.
Mountain.
No, something to build on what you were saying. So you said like the survivors are plucked from the reality, but these killers are like doing the bidding of the entity itself. So they're almost like plucked from the imagination of reality, which is kind of weird.
Yes, kind of.
Like these fictitious killers from the real world are like brought almost to life to do the bidding of the entity.
We have to go deeper. We have to go 5 levels down.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to make an Inception joke. It's not really a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead. 5 levels down, Ralph.
Well, hold on. I did want to say that I feel like this is the kind of game where they had the gameplay and concept first, and then the story was an afterthought, whereas some games, the story comes first, and then they decide how to do the gameplay, if that makes any kind of sense.
Well, yeah, they decided to make an asymmetric 4v1 game, and they put light trappings of lore, and they're expanding upon it with every release, but I don't think it's ever going to be explained. Or, honestly, the way that they put out content, if they're ever going to shut the game down, they might just fully explain or like have this final thing with the entity. Who knows? What I think is actually really cool is they go out and acquire likeness licenses to characters from folklore and myths, and then also popular horror movies and pop culture around horror movies and things like that. So like their generic ones is like there's a killer clown who kind of has this weird resemblance to like John Wayne Gacy.
I was going to say that.
There's a trapper, which is like a completely original, I say with quotations, because like it's just like a kind of killer hillbilly
Doesn't
type of
seem
deal.
like he's based off of anybody.
Yeah. Well, he's not directly based off of anybody.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
You have
Ed Gein.
not really, no. Yeah, no.
Okay.
The nurse, which is again just like what they do that's interesting is they take these characters that are their generic ones and they really differentiate them with their gameplay mechanics, which we can get more into. So there's the nurse. What else, Harry?
The hag,
The hag,
the hillbilly.
yes.
There's the
doctor,
doctor.
the huntress.
Yes, the huntress. What's the one guy? He's the third one.
The dentist.
It's right next to the hillbilly. He uses the bell.
The wraith.
The wraith.
The wraith.
The Wraith?
Yeah, so those are like the original ones. And then we have some licensed ones, and they're actually pretty awesome. So we have Michael Myers, who is the Shape.
Nice.
We have the Nightmare, who is Freddy Krueger.
Wait, I think the Shape. That's what he's called in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, in one of the movies he is.
I'm sorry, the credit rolls. He's not listed as Michael Myers. He's listed as the Shape, like as the.
It's a direct reference to the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just can't call them by the trademarked name. So then they have Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, which is called the Nightmare, which is perfect.
Yeah.
They have the Cannibal, which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The pig from
the Jigsaw movies and Saw movies. So the pig is actually Amanda from the movies.
Oh, right.
Dresses up in like the pig mask and like kind of pretty much like sets up. I think it's in Saw 2 and 3. She's
remember.
like the.
I saw 1, 2, and 6.
Does she play in the mud?
What? I've seen. So I haven't seen all of the movies in like hardcore detail. I've like kind of skimmed over a lot of the Saw movies in general. I watched like a bunch of YouTube videos that kind of go over the kills from them, and like they do the connections.
So I guess they don't have Jason because he has his own game.
Correct.
Okay.
There's a funny video on that too, though.
Oh, really?
It's like a flash animation type video, and they're having the meeting of
all the other ones.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then Jason's like, "Please let me in, please."
Like, get him out of here.
And then you see because everybody thinks the one character looks like
Nia.
one of Nia. You see her just like, "Get that fucker out of here," because she looks like a ghoulish character.
She does.
So,
Does that cover everybody
for
the killers?
I'm trying to think who we might be missing, but that might do it.
Coming out of my cage and I was doing just fine.
I'm pretty sure the clown is the newest.
Yeah, the clown is the newest.
Yeah, no, I think that covers everybody.
Yeah. So then for the survivors, we have
I couldn't tell you all their names.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
I might be able to do it.
Dwight,
Jake,
Megan,
Meng,
Claudette,
Ace, Detective Tapp, Laurie Strode. Detective Tapp is from Jigsaw. Laurie Strode is from Halloween. Who is...
I forget the guy's name from the Nightmare movies, but he has the super baggy eyes.
Oh, that's Jake. Jake Park.
No, Jake is original.
Oh, is he? Okay. There's also wow, I can't even think of his name. He's like one of the characters that I play. It's not Billy.
Oh, the tough dude.
Yeah. The fuck is his name?
David King?
Yeah, David King.
There you go. Quentin is the one I couldn't think
Quentin. Okay.
And
Should be one more.
David.
David King?
No, David King and David Tapp.
Oh, Tap. Okay. Detective Tap.
Dave and Dave.
Wow, they release some like quarterly.
Yeah. Their roadmap is they're going to have 2 more DLCs by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's September, December, and then one planned for March next year.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the background then.
Well, I did want to say one thing about the story. If it's all right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yeah.
Go. What is it, Ralph?
What I wanted to say is that this is the kind of game where you don't come to it for the story. It's about the stories that you create in every session that you play. It's about the story is, oh, I got away from the killer that time, or man, I almost got it there, or I interacted this way with my friend. Like the story, you basically generate it. We had that one session where we were doing everything. We noticed that the killer was sort of like toying with us. Like he didn't attack us right away. That's a totally different experience than the time I was in and I got, hooked twice before I could even spin around. So it's that kind of game, and that, of course, leads into gameplay. But the real story is user generated.
True.
Yep.
To build on that, though, I would like to add the way they designed this game, and I'm going to be careful not to tiptoe over the line into gameplay, but the way they designed the sequences in this game, it's to kind of mimic certain things from a slasher or horror movie.
Like you cross the line.
So with like the hunting and the chasing and the way during some of these chase scenes you can throw things in your path. It's like all these are common tropes within horror movies or slasher movies to make it feel more cinematic. So I think that adds to the story. It's by putting these elements found quite commonly in some of these slasher movies.
Yep.
Well said.
Is it part of the story that you have to activate generators?
No, I'd say that's gameplay.
Nope.
Okay.
And we're going to generate up some gameplay knowledge.
Gameplay.
All right, so should we just cover the basic objective of the gameplay first? Like,
Don't die or kill.
I like how everybody in this game is a mechanic.
Yeah. They just stick their hands in an operating engine, no problems.
I know how to do this.
Bang!
I mean, it's an alternate reality. Maybe they just get that when they step into the abyss.
Sure. When they get plugged
They could
into
be
the
doing-
Matrix, then that's where they now know Kung Fu and how to repair
Yes.
generators.
They could be doing something else. It's kind of silly. That's it. Just that kind of takes me out of the experience just a little bit. That it's like, what the hell are they supposed to be doing? Like to get this generator going? They're just
I mean, I don't really think that takes me out of it because I'm more concerned with the killer than like, why are we repairing generators? Like,
sure.
I mean, I get the idea. Like, okay,
The margarita stuff doesn't help either.
No, but that's like a holiday thing. So, all right, hold on. The base premise of the gameplay here is if you are a survivor, what you're trying to do is you're trying to turn on 5 generators, and then that powers 2 exit doors. You want to open one or both of the exit doors, and all of the survivors run out. As the killer, you are trying to stop them from doing that by also chasing them, slashing them down, and once you drop them, you can actually put them onto a meat hook. Once they're on the meat hook, they get through 3 phases. If they lose on the 3rd phase, it's not really gamified like that. It's really you have to wait until someone gets you off the hook. But if no one does, then you're sacrificed to the entity and killed for the rest of the game.
Yep.
That's the basic premise of gameplay. However, like, because of how vastly different every single killer is, it really, really changes rounds from game to game. And even the different survivors are vastly different with their perks and things like that. Different survivors do different things way better than the other survivors.
Yeah, that was kind of deep the way that the characters and their different perks. I didn't have the time to even read the fucking things to really understand what I was dealing with, but some of it just seemed a little long-winded. It's like, why don't they say +1 speed or -2 speed, +1 health? I don't know. It could be simplified, I think, but that's not really what you're looking for.
Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies with like building a good perk set and things like that, and trying to like go out and play against a good killer or good survivors. I've gotten probably 20, 30 matches as a killer. I pretty much main Huntress. She's my favorite. And then I usually play as Ace and David King as survivors.
They definitely have it where, with having so much variety between the different survivors and the different killers, you're getting almost a unique playing experience every single time you get into a round.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. It's awesome.
So I guess based on the different teams, so like when I play as the killer, I think my go-to is the hag. I've been playing a lot more of the hillbilly recently, though. Now that I am getting a little bit better with the chainsaw, just maneuverability across the map, it's super fast, super fast.
Yeah.
But when I play as the humans, I've been playing exclusively Megan, just really trying to cap out a character and like get perks all to like god tier status, essentially.
Yeah, it's really cool, like in the blood web and stuff like that. Like as you level up a character, you actually can get what's called teachable perks, and once you unlock those, they show up in other survivors' blood webs. So you can start building these huge sets of perks for different survivors. It's pretty cool. You can start to like mix and match perks from different people. So there's like benefits to leveling up all the different characters. I thought that was really an interesting way to do that, to get you to really stick to the grind. But it doesn't feel like a grind. Like this game, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't feel like a grind. I've been playing it a ton. I've been really, really enjoying just match after match after match.
I think the leveling is a little slow, to be honest. It's fun, so you don't notice it. But I could see somebody who's investing a lot of time, it could get a little grindy in the long term. Like, I couldn't see myself going through and maxing out like 3 or 4 different characters. Like, I would stick to maybe 2 at most and call it a day. I mean, the Killers is a different monster all in itself, because I feel like they're a little bit...
You monster.
I feel like the Killers feel more unique than the Survivors. I think the Survivors feel a little generic at times.
True.
I would agree with you there.
They 100% do at low level. But like I was playing just like with randoms the one time, and I saw a rank 7 Claudette and a rank 4 David King. And this is why I wanted to start playing David King. Claudette and David literally just fucked with the killer the entire time. And anytime he would break off to go after one of the other 2 people, like Claudette, because she's super quick, and also because of her character model, she's really easy to hide. And dude, I don't know what to tell you. It's like the meta of the game.
What are you saying?
Dead by Daylight memes. Like, Claudette with a flashlight is like the worst fucking nightmare for a killer, because she can just like flash you, stun you, and then run straight past you, and then like quick duck and hide, and it's really hard to find her again. And she's quick, and she has a really nice perk set as well.
She's got nice perks.
Yeah, she does.
She's got nice perks.
Check out that perk set.
But yeah, so like David King, like really good at blocking a killer from being able to put you on a hook and getting away from the killer very quickly. He has this thing that when he's injured, the killer can run up and try to like swing at you or lunge at you, and you can actually take what it's called dead hard, and you press X and you just sprint. You go to, I think it's 2.5 of your speed.
Holy shit.
And you just book. But like, it's so good for getting away from a killer, because you can so my strategy with that, because I've started to play with him, I'll pallet stun a killer that's following me, because you can run past pallets, and as a killer comes up to them, you can pull a pallet down, it stuns them, and then they have to go through the pallet, like destroy it to get to you. So I'll do that, start running, and as soon as I hear them start kicking the pallet, I'll dead hard, and I'll just be gone. They won't be able to follow me.
I would have renamed that ability.
He's British.
Okay.
I
Like, think hardened criminal.
So I think one thing. So as far as balancing goes, so to maybe some of the listeners, you can say like, oh, what if the killer gets like 3 of the survivors early and they didn't get through their 5 generators? For balancing purposes, the last survivor has an alternative way to escape. And
If 2 generators have been completed.
oh, is it you have to get at
You
least
have
2?
to get 2 generators completed.
Okay. But a little hatch door will open that's randomly generated somewhere on the map, which gives you an alternative. And it's come into play so many times for me.
Oh my god, I've watched Harry be the last survivor and just like, oh look, hatch jumped down.
Yep, fuck you guys.
It's like,
I'm
wow,
out.
he won.
The one match, the one night, I spent, what is it, like 20 minutes just lurking around the map because I was the last survivor. And
Really
this guy
like
was
slowly, and they couldn't see you.
well, yeah, if you walk, like if you crouch walk, you won't disturb like the birds, which will give like a sound cue to you away.
You won't click off the hag signals if you crouch walk as well.
Yeah, because the killer has a like a viewpoint where they can see where you've been
Right.
based on, I guess, how much that person has been rushing. If they're like full sprinting, they leave marks all over the place. But if they're crouch walking, they don't really leave a trail at all.
And you have to keep moving, otherwise the crows will gather at your spot, gather at your where you're at.
So if you're standing still, there's crows that will circle you.
Just to make sure you're still moving.
Yeah,
It's hell for
it's
the
to
killer.
avoid camping.
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent like 20 minutes just looking for this hatch, just being very careful to hide whenever I would hear the heartbeat. Like I'm sure, because I think Clark and John were both playing with me that night, and it must have been agonizing because they were just sitting on the menu listening to me. Like,
Oh, I was watching you.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was spectating.
was
I was trying to
enthralled.
help you look for it, but I was like, all right, Harry, you got to do something. You should start working on that last generator, or like you need to like quickly look for the escape hatch. He finally fucking found it though.
Yeah.
Doesn't it emit a sound or something?
It does, but it's only within like a 10-meter radius. You have to actually find the damn thing.
yeah.
But you pulled out the win. Nice.
I wanted that win so bad. That's why I took my time. I did not stand up to walk at all. I crouch walked everywhere.
Oh, jeez.
So I will say, so powering up the generators is agonizing.
I suck.
It is so slow to begin with. But on the alternative, they throw in these little things called skill checks, where it'll give you a sound cue and then a little
Quick time event.
a little quick time event pops up, and if you fuck it up, it notifies to the killer where you are.
Yep.
Essentially,
And it does damage to the generator.
It's like a backfire. It's a big bang.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is so nerve-wracking working on a generator, not only because it takes forever, but because of these skill checks can just pop up at a moment's notice. Some of them just pop up back to back. Like as soon as you finish one skill check, another pops up on the screen. Like you don't, like there isn't like increments going up the generator when they're just going to pop up. Like it can happen at any time.
But the biggest variable are your teammates. No.
Yes and no. So what I've noticed is communication is king in this game.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you have a team of 4 survivors and they can all communicate via headset, it is so much easier than trying to communicate without it.
Mandatory.
Because there's like a learning curve with our friend group right now. Hamill and I do a lot of killer handling while everyone else works on generators.
I'm a generator guy.
Yeah. Harry's a generator guy. I'll start by doing generator stuff, but as soon as another person becomes in trouble, then I start fucking with the killer or trying to get them off of hooks or things like that. But I'm also playing David King. That's literally my job role in the game, is to like, I need to be the person saving people, fucking with hooks, or like if I see a killer is chasing somebody and we can communicate and it's like, hey, is he like right on you? It's like, if he's not, I'll run over a generator just to get a bad skill check to pull him off of that person, so he'll start coming for me, and it's like, all right, I'll deal with him.
Yeah.
So on a different side note, like the way I tend to play, and I think this kind of builds into the importance of building a
Character?
a decent like perk set and like one that caters to your play style. Mine is all about kind of quick and stealthy from generator to generator, and what helps me with that is like I got that sprint burst, so if I do get in a pickle, I can run away really quick.
Always helpful.
You're playing Meg, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's the runner.
Yeah. So it really helps me get from generator to generator really quickly. And I use the Deja Vu perk. So whenever you finish a generator, it pops up 3 more on the map. Hey, here's 3 more generators. So it's easy
wow.
I
to
love Deja Vu.
navigate
It's
where
so
the other
good.
generators are. And then I also use the one perk whenever I finish. Like a lot of my things trigger when I finish a generator. The other one does, it shows me where the killer is for 5 seconds whenever I finish a generator.
handy.
So
Oh, damn.
not only do the generators pop up, but I know which ones to avoid and which ones are like completely clear
Wow.
of the killer. So it helps me get around the map. And I finish like usually like 50% of my matches without even getting touched. And I just focus on my job for the team and just getting those generators done.
He's a real team player, this guy.
Hey, I get it done.
Yeah. Honestly, you need.
Harry's a producer.
Harry, I'm not ragging on
he
you, man.
produces results.
I'm not ragging on you.
Typically, a winning team, you have everyone goes generator first. If you can get 2 or 3 generators, like in the first 10 minutes of a match, you're probably all going to survive. But like what you need to do is you essentially, if you can, pair off into 2 2s or a 2, a 1, and a 1, and everyone starts working on generators. And then when the killer shows up, it's, you're splitting off or you're meeting up with other people, or one of the 2 people become a harasser, or however that works. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to distract the killer just enough that it gives everyone else time to really, they can do fuck ups, they can do whatever they want. As long as the killer's on you, that's like... See, and that's like my strategy. I like to be chased by the killer. I think it's fun.
Harry's like, nope.
I'm really fucking good at being chased by the killer. I mean, Harry, you've played tons of games with me. I don't get hooked that much, and I work on generators.
You know who gets hooked a lot?
John.
John does.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, John.
Shout out to John.
Man, we were all laughing about it the one time. John spawns into the game and within 30 seconds is hit at least once by the killer. Every single game.
Oh my God.
We don't know.
Does he know to crouch?
We don't know what it is. We don't know exactly what it was. But yeah, just there's something about John that
You should play Claudette.
it's
I'm going
not,
to. That's going to be my next character.
Yeah.
Mainly for her self-heal ability.
Yeah,
I
her
wanna be able-
self-heal
I wanna
ability
be
is
able
really
to-
good.
She doesn't even need a med pack. She can just heal herself.
Yeah, she's standalone pretty good. But the thing is, when you first start the game and it's a fresh character, like skill level anything under 10, it's a scary fucking game. Because you have nothing. You don't,
Yeah, it is.
you don't have the perks. You don't have the perk support to be able to actually be like self-sustaining and things like that. And the biggest hump, I feel like, in the game to get
My
over...
lovely lady humps.
Check it out.
the hag. No.
Hurdle?
The biggest hump to get over is
Wednesday.
1 to 15. Level 1 to 15.
I'm like 3.
Yes.
Got it.
But what is cool is you can play as the killer and you can play as the survivors, and you can just pool up your blood points and then use them in one or the other. They pool together. So
You want to talk about playing as a killer then?
Can I talk about one more thing as a survivor?
yeah.
I find, like, as I'm getting better and better at the game, a real winning strategy. So you get, 8 generators a map, I believe. Or maybe 7.
I think it's 7.
Yes, I think you're right. I think it's 7. So what I noticed could be the biggest detriment to the survivor team if, when they get down to those final 3 generators, if all of them are within a small area.
I see.
It's easy for the killer to patrol
yeah.
those 3 generators. That's how I've won so many games, because I'll let them go on the first couple, and I'll just choose, hey, I want these to be the final ones, and then I can just walk around. I can constantly kick the generators so that they never actually can get any progress with any of them. Mm-hmm. So what you need to do is jump around the map and then save the last couple generators. The last 3, I believe, is when it becomes a problem. But those last 3 have to be super far apart so that he can't actively patrol all 3 of them in a
You got to keep him on his toes. So
Essentially, yeah,
keep him
because then he
moving.
has to pick and choose at that point, and it's easy for the survivors to just split up and bang one of those last ones out.
Yeah, bang that generator.
All right, so killers. I pretty much main Huntress. My Huntress is like level 20-ish. Because I've been siphoning points from my survivors into my Huntress as well.
Oh, gotcha.
Which do you enjoy more?
Surviving with friends, I enjoy more. But playing as the killer, I actually really like. Especially the Huntress. So for a while, I finally broke my streak. But for a while, I got really good with the Huntress to the point where in the first minute of a game, I would find somebody and throw a hatchet at them, hit them, and they would disconnect. Like, I was making people rage quit with my Huntress.
Wow.
It was like literally I had 3 games in a row where it would be rage quit, kill all 3. Rage quit, kill all 3. Rage quit, kill all 3. Then one person finally got away from me in like my 4th or 5th match. And then I actually just recently, because I kept getting people DCing or escaping at that point.
Yeah.
People don't like playing against the Huntress because she has ranged attacks, which people don't like.
Yeah, that makes it a little tougher.
That's why they rage quit.
Yeah. People just don't know how to play against her. There's a very easy formula for playing against the Huntress. She has one big glaring weakness, and that's if you hear her lullaby, she's within a 45-meter radius, which means that you need to actually start worrying about it because her heartbeat is 10 meters lower than everyone else's. So she's actually, like, when you hear her heartbeat, it's time to move. A lot of people are like, oh, okay, the killer's, like, probably, like, 2 or 3 walls away, probably can't see me. But when you hear the heartbeat of the Huntress, you need to move immediately. Get the fuck out or hide. Because she's actually, like, really fucking close. A lot of people don't realize that, and they just get axed. Today with it wasn't today. Yesterday with the Wraith, I actually managed to kill all 4 people for the first time. Like, without anyone disconnecting, which was nice, because it was a fucking achievement. What about you, Harry?
Oh, I killed all 4 my first game.
Fair enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, I technically killed all 4 of mine, but, like, I put somebody on the hook, and they disconnected, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was my
I hate
first
that
match
shit.
I played ever. I didn't even play Survivors at that point.
No
I just
shit.
hopped in. I was like, oh, let's check this game out.
Oh, look. Apparently I can kill
I am
things.
good at this game.
Well, I'm sure you got a wave of noobs with it going free on
Yeah,
PlayStation.
that's
For sure.
I went AFK the one day as the killer. I think I had to take a phone call or something like that, and I came back to the game, and 2 of the survivors were just on my screen just looking at me like, is he going to do anything?
Really?
Yeah, and I just got back. I was like, but. I was like, yeah, this is convenient.
Oh, man.
They're chasing me.
And playing as the killer, like, a lot of people initially when you start, a lot of people think that the killer can just like swing. They can't.
No, you can't.
There's actually a cooldown. So once they hit or swing at all, they take a second to reset their hand. And a lot of people don't realize that when you get hit by them, if you immediately turn around and run past them, they're never going to have enough time to recharge to swing again. And then the killer plays in first-person view. So if you're standing on the side of the killer, a lot of people panic and run. But, like, you can stay behind a killer, and as long as you're not making noise, they have no fucking idea that you're there. So, like, you can... pro tip, and this is how I've become really good at eluding killers, is... I'll be running through, and instead of dropping a pallet so they know where I am, like, I'll be running through, like, ruins or, like, a bunch of the weird, like, broken down cabins. Running through, quick around a corner that's like a double corner. Run around and literally just crouch in a corner. 9 out of 10 times, they just walk right past. And they'll literally walk right next to me. But because it's first-person view, and you're down here, they just don't see you.
The one thing that I guess really bothers me about the gameplay of this game, and this is like more than any game I think I've ever played, but to really be good at this game, you have to like exploit the mechanics of this game to the fullest. Like,
Care to elaborate?
timing is everything. Like if you watch some of these videos, like survivors shuffling over, like if there's a roof here and a roof here, a survivor can shuffle this corner that a killer can't What's that?
Listeners can't see your fingers.
I know. It's
2 adjacent rooftops.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if it's like a right angle, like between the two roofs.
and you're missing that square in between. They can cut the corner that a killer can't. The hiding behind the kill. I don't. It's hard to explain. But to get the maximum out of this game, you have to push abusing the mechanics of it to the limit. I feel.
Not the mechanics. The physics of the game.
Maybe the physics. Maybe that's
Because the mechanics, like, that's just playing at a higher level.
You're right. You're right. But like the physics of the game, I think there's a lot of areas that you can exploit to give yourself the edge in this game.
For sure. I think that goes both ways, though.
the
So
edge.
give yourself the edge. Like of a knife. Sorry, I'm listening.
He didn't say anything. Continue.
You know what I'm saying though? Like
Yeah.
like I don't
You
know.
really have to think about the killer's perspective constantly if you're playing as a survivor.
Yes.
Yeah.
The killer's perspective being first person, what it does is it evens the playing field for a survivor to actually go toe-to-toe with the killer. Because they need to be able to go toe-to-toe with the killer a little bit. Otherwise, the killer just runs around, knocks everybody down, and that's the game.
Awesome. Yeah, it doesn't take much.
I think what makes the game special, too, is some of that jankiness. It's not a perfect game in execution. However, I think that how fucking hilarious the community is about this game and how everyone's like, yeah, this game, like, is perfect and things like that. Like,
It's fucking flawless.
I mean, it's not at all. It's definitely not a flawless game. But I think the game flourishes the way that it is. They're making little tweaks to try to fix certain things, but like
It's not broken.
all right, so like what Harry was talking about, and I know this is like it's a glitch, but if you think about it, you have this giant hulking killer. They're probably not going to actually be able to make that corner to corner jump like that. But like if you were a survivor on that, you could easily just run across. Like if you were
Do a little hop.
regular sized human being, like none of these are, and I've seen hags and nurses do that. But because like the Wraith has the really broad shoulders, the Hillbilly has his arms out all the time, they get knocked off. But I've seen hag and nurse both do that. The nurse can do the teleport across, which is crazy. But like that kind of stuff, like I'm not defending it. I'm just saying there's jankiness on both the killer and survivor side
where you
that they
can put
exploit.
some logic
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really really hard to describe, but when you play it, you can kind of see it like and doing like weird stuff.
It's it's cheese. Like it's
Yes.
how people exploit certain moves in Dark Souls to like just like cheese their way through a really tough boss. They just find that one little thing that works, and if they have to do it 100 times, they do it 100 times to just cheese their way through. You can cheese this game, but you can do it both as the killer and survivor.
It goes both ways.
Say cheese one more time.
Cheese.
Okay, good.
That's really all I have to talk about
Yep.
gameplay.
What about you guys?
I think he covered it. All right, so let's hack our way over into some graphics.
Graphics.
I think other than the occasional like janky, weird graphical glitch, I think the game actually looks really cool. I love the design of all the killers. I think the killer designs are really good.
They really give a unique look to like all of them. It's like you can't really mistake any two.
Yeah, no, you see them out in the field and you're like, okay, that's the trapper, or oh, okay, that's the clown, or you know.
I think the characters are the standout here. It's really not about the environments, at least to me. I think the environments are pretty interchangeable.
I like that. So let's
Except
say. Go ahead.
Except for something like, if it's in the woods or in the swamp, they're similar. If it's in like a complex, like inside a building, then obviously they're not the same thing.
Right.
But most of the time that I play, it's out in the woods or somewhere dark where you can hide.
Yes. What I do like about the environment specifically, like let's say there is a stealth game and you want to hide behind something. There's like a command on it where you remove yourself from the playing field into that zone. Like this, you can just seamlessly transition into the grass and seamlessly transition out. There isn't like a command for it or some kind of...
There's not like a hide button.
Yeah, there's not a
There
hide.
is, though, for like cabinets and stuff, because I've hidden in that.
Well, yes,
Yes, yeah.
I meant that. But I've hidden in tall grass before and a killer walked right by me.
Right.
Or hiding behind a rock or a tree or... Like, I've done stuff without having to hit a command for it. Or something.
What you're referring to is like Assassin's Creed, where you have to jump into the bale of hay
Yeah,
to
something like
hide,
that.
and stealth is required on that. But you couldn't crouch next to the bale of hay and have it count.
It's more like walking with the group of whores, where you just seamlessly go in.
Italian whores.
You seamlessly just can blend in, and it's not like you have to do any extra action. And then it's like, all right, well, he's passed. Generators back there, I'm going to go start working on that, or whatever your task may be.
Just blend Dead by Daylight with those book-toting scholars, and you've made a real horror game. No?
That'd be the
Yes.
most difficult game of all.
Something graphically that stood out to me since the first time I played. When you're on a hook, you could see the auras of your fellow survivors. And they have this weird outline and animation that reminds me of a man. Like, did you ever see the signs when you're driving on the road where it's like crossing here and you see like a little man just like, how's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look kind of like that. And you just do animation back and forth. It looks fucking weird.
Like they're a little caricature or something.
It's very odd, and it's a little jarring when it comes to this horror game, and then all of a sudden you see this janky ass character outline that just...
Well, they blew all their money on those licensing deals. They don't have money for the little stuff.
I don't know. It's fucking weird, though. It is fucking weird. It almost takes you out of the moment, too, to be completely honest, because it looks so goofy.
I don't know. I think being put on a hook more than once and then having giant, like, bone claws impale you in the stomach, that sort of takes me out of the experience.
Really? Wow.
Just a little bit.
Graphically, I do want to see more of the entity, though. I'm super curious. Like,
You really don't get much of them.
you don't, but I like the whole animation where it just, like, takes your soul and pulls you into the sky kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
it's super cool.
It's mysterious.
It is very mysterious. Maybe we would do more harm to the good by revealing more. Maybe just have
It's an
that-
alien creature that came out of a black hole or something wouldn't be good.
I think it's cool that you can give offerings to the entity before you like enter a match to like change certain aspects of the field and things like that.
Let's scream our way into some music.
Music.
Thanks, Ralph. Appropriate. Which there is a lot of screaming, which it is appropriate.
It's a very sound heavy game.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
All the cues.
All the cues, the crows, the heartbeat. The heartbeat is awesome. I fucking love it. Just like the impending, like, starts off as a slow, like every once in a while you hear just your, and then as it gets closer, it just like picks up and gets more rapid, and then you're like, oh fuck, it's on me.
It makes me scared as hell.
Yeah,
like I'm running around and
is.
just hear like the little bit, and I'm like, okay, I think I might be okay. And then as it starts getting louder, it's like, fuck me, this is not going to be good. Which it usually doesn't turn out to be good for me anyway.
Yeah, there's your terror. I mean, you can't see the killer, and you hear boom, 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 like, and it's like, oh my god, where the fuck is this thing? Like, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it for 2 minutes, and it's just like it's all over me.
And also another thing too is like you start to get accustomed to like, okay, so there's a heartbeat when a killer's near. So then they start changing that with certain killers. Like the pig can go silent where you can't hear her heartbeat at all. So she can just creep up and be right behind you. Or like Michael Myers, where his heartbeat doesn't start until he's on the second phase, but his whole thing is to stalk, and he gets points for stalking. And then once he like reaches a certain level, I think it's like level 3, once he hits that, he goes into like a blood rage for like 2 minutes. Every single hit that he does, you can be full health. He hits you, you're on the ground. So he skips a health phase. So he becomes really dangerous, but he stalks you. So like you're like looking around, you don't hear a heartbeat, and then all of a sudden you just see the white mask, like in the fucking woods, just staring at you.
You see a sheep.
It's fucking terrifying. Like I think him and the Wraith are the two scariest ones to go against.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. Like, man, Michael Myers just standing there, and then you like turn around. Like, I've had it where I'm like working on a generator. I'm like, all right, this is almost done. I need to figure out where I'm going to run to next. And I turn around, and it's just like Michael Myers is like 3 feet behind my character, and he hits tier 2, and then all of a sudden he just raises the knife, and I'm like, oh, I'm fucked.
It's like,
I'm
shit.
I'm so dead. But yeah, like the killer can get the jump on the player can get the jump on the killer too. Like if you have enough like recognition for it, you can get away from, and it's all based on sound.
What really drives me nuts when it comes to sound, like I love the heartbeat as like an indicator that he's near, but it's like I get it confused with the actual music so often, where sometimes I'll jump off a generator because I think he's near, but it's like it was just a cue in the music, and it's like I wish I can mute.
You can't turn it off.
Yeah, you can turn the music off.
I don't know how. Like I found
the
that
settings.
I found the thing in the settings that said like to turn down menu music, but I haven't found anything that says like music. But it would also, I don't know.
Old man Harry, don't know how to use VCR.
I'll
Can
play
you set the
around
clock?
because I just want to hear the heartbeat and like sound cues in the match. I don't want to have to worry about the music like at all.
So you can actually focus on what you
Cheater.
need to actually focus on.
Hacks.
I want to
I'm
exploit that.
kidding.
They also might have that locked in there so that you can exploit it. It's the same thing with like H1Z1, where the birds sound like a military chest. You can't turn it off.
No, the sound cues are super important in this game. Like even from the killer's perspective, like you're listening, like a wounded survivor will whimper and make noises. Like that's something you listen for if you don't even have any visual cues. You could just listen to see, are they nearby?
Mm-hmm.
You can hear somebody moving in the tall grass and things like that. And like, so another thing that I thought was really cool with the Huntress. So she hums, and you can hear her humming at a long distance. But also, she has a perk that as you get to level 3, you get like tokens for hooking people. Once you have hooked someone 3 times, it could be all 3 different survivors. Once you get those 3 hooks, no audio cues for generators. You have to be staring at your screen, or else you'll miss a check.
No shit.
There's no check sound.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That'd be like my worst fucking nightmare.
I mean, it's a really high level perk, but like you could be looking around and just miss a check, and then boom. There's also like perks to like turn that off, or it's like a 50-50 shot if you miss a skill check that it just won't make a sound. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
I think the sound being such an important thing in the game is really cool.
Well, there's not a lot of games that are out there that really utilize where you have to really focus on that.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
But just based off of the sound cues like that? Not so much.
The entire crux of the game is based on this. If there was no heartbeat in the game, it would be way less fun.
I gotcha. I'm thinking like online competitive like shooters where you can hear their footsteps and stuff like that, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess for some stuff like that, I mean, you could even compare that with Siege, where you just listen around or
Siege
just look for a little bit.
is my go-to.
Oh, before we get out of music though, like it's cool how the music changes when all of a sudden you're in a chase scene. Like it turns into this like scrambling music where it like really ramps up the intensity of that particular moment.
That touches back to what you were saying, where they really take a lot of elements out of like horror movies, and it makes you feel like you're in a horror movie.
And I think that was one of their premises when they were designing this game, is like they really wanted to take as much from horror movies and make it feel almost like you're living through a horror movie yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty obvious that's what they were going for.
Cool. So let's offer up some final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I want to say that this is an incomplete final thought, because there's really no end game here. I need to spend more time with the game to really generate a complete consensus of what I think. As it stands right now, it's a scary, fun, if you're with friends, game to be a survivor. It's an interesting concept. I like the idea. I like the execution. I'm not like head over heels in love with it, though. I'm not really into horror games. I'm not even really into a lot of games where I'm playing other people online. I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
No.
So I'm going to say that I like it.
I'm going to share some of the same words as Ralph, just because I have not put nearly as much time into it as you two have. But with that, it's fun enough to the point where I want to keep playing this. More so, what I want to do is actually just start hopping online with you guys, because I haven't played with friends yet. It's pretty much I've just been running solo on it, and I feel like that could up the fun factor, and then I can definitely learn a hell of a lot more by playing with people who can actually do things and communicate instead of just randomly running around with 3 other people and then ending up on a hook a couple times.
Yeah, that's never fun.
Nah.
It's a fun game. It's a very different experience from when you're a survivor to the killer. Like when you like play as a survivor, it is like intense and terrifying, and when you play as the killer, you're basically taking that whole element away. Like it's just like a fun game then. So I highly recommend anybody getting into this game, play as the killer first, just to kind of learn some of the aspects of the game. And I think you'll have more fun with the game initially by playing as the killer and challenging yourself with the survivor later. I think it's the best way to start this game, to be honest with you. I think I spent a whole afternoon as just the killer before I really dove in with the survivor, because I think more skill is needed as a survivor, more communication is needed, and just more of a almost game plan needed for a survivor. Whereas with the killer, you can almost just kind of wing it, and you're pretty good as long as you
can wing it as the killer.
Yeah, you can just essentially wing it as the killer. So that's my recommendation. If you pick up this game, start with the killer. I think you'll have more fun with the game.
I think the game's awesome. I have fun with both the killer and survivor. I, however, have a different opinion, actually the polar opposite opinion of Harry when it comes to what you should play first. I personally think you should get accustomed to playing the survivor. Learning those tactics is technically, it's harder to learn how to be a good survivor, because as he said, it's easier to be a killer. But once you know survivor tactics, it'll make you a lethal killer. And you'll have even more fun going in there and being like, I'm just going to destroy people. And it's definitely, look, it was free. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you didn't pick it up, it's definitely, I still think worth I think it's like $20 to pick up. And yeah, I've had a blast playing this with friends. Pretty much how I play it is, if I'm playing solo, it's mostly killer. If I'm playing with friends, it's mostly survivor. They do have, if you have 5 friends or 4 other friends, you can play private matches where everyone gets all the perks at highest level and everything's just ridiculous. Not so much fun. I would like tone it back, be like, all right, everyone can only use level 1 perks and things like that. It would actually make it like more of a challenge, because the killer just is too overpowered when everything's unlocked. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really fun and addictive game. I love it.
You're in.
Mm-hmm.
Balls deep.
Mm-hmm. The Abyss has me, or the entity has me.
All right. Score time.
The score.
I'm going to give this 4 hooked survivors and no open escape gate.
So yeah, based off of what I've put in so far, and
An inch.
the best inch you've ever had in your life, I'm going to go with a B with this. But I have a feeling that over time that may start to rise up a little more. Or maybe I'll just get rageful and delete it.
To 2 inches. Rageful.
Oh my god.
Angry 2 inches.
Not all of us can be hung like a hamster like you, Harry.
Furry and round.
Ew. All right, Ralph, what you got?
I want to unhear that whole thing. I'm going to give this
Squealing.
Let me winks.
I'm going to go with a 75%.
Alrighty. And last, and totally least, Harry.
I am going to go with a 7.0, which will tie with Donkey Kong Country and Tomb Raider.
Womb Raider.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to go higher than that.
Me too.
Yeah. No, I think it's almost. I think it's a good game. I think it's a lot of fun.
It's about on the same level as mine carts and gorillas.
I think it's like a flavor of the week kind of thing. Like I think it's gonna wear itself thin at some point.
Oh, like H1Z1.
I haven't touched that in a couple weeks.
That's it right
I
there.
gave H1Z1 a 6.5.
Still better than Fortnite.
I've watched videos of Fortnite. I don't think I could get into that.
I would give Fortnite like a 4
Really?
out of 100. I hate Fortnite.
That escalated quickly. All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for tuning in.
All right, guys, and join us in 2 weeks for our next review. You'll see the mubbers in between, but in 2 weeks, we're going to have Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Oh my God! Really? We're finally going to do it?
A Zelda joint.
Is that like a Spike Lee joint?
Yeah, like a Spike Lee joint, but it's a Zelda joint.
Oh my God! I've been wanting to talk about this game forever.
Smoking them Korok leaves.
Little doo-doo.
Little doo-doo. Little poo nugget.
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.